It was
Hang on. Sit down first.
my
Yeah, sure.
grandfather's father,
Look here
my
and
great
tell the story.
grandfather. Yeah, he was killed. The only one killed in that tornado. He went back he was safe in a tornado cellar,
Mhm.
and he went back in the house to get his citizenship and the house papers. And the tornado hit, destroyed that into the house. He rode a table for a mile. They found his body about a mile away. That was, I believe, 1892. I know why it sticks in my mind, but that's the year Aunt Heidi was born. Yeah, they're immigrants. But I don't, I don't know what he did for a living. There are no pictures. There probably were and probably got destroyed. We don't know. But uh, I have my grandfather was fairly well to do. Uh, he started out a native, first one, uh, and he was a coal miner. Everybody was a coal miner. There was a coal mine 150 feet from my grandfather's house, long since covered over and having become alfalfa field. We called it the green field because it was always green. Uh, Mines were very shallow. My grandfather was crippled in a cave. He was 12 years old. Little boys with sheepers and mules were pushing mine cars. Yes,
Yeah.
little boys, 12. And by that time, that must have been 19. Uh, the family, let's call it 14, together with my great grandfather, had dissipated. My grandpa still had enough money to buy a 20-acre or so estate and give it to my grandma as a wedding present. I had, I saw a picture of him with about a dozen other miners, overalls, and it was supposed to be in a village I never visited. That's all. I knew all about it except there's about a dozen houses. Victoria. I don't know if they have even the other part of Delaware. My grandpa spent some time. Last house in Delaware. Well, he had quite an estate. A huge orchard and garden. He had a green thumb. He spent more time in the garden than but he gave it all away. He used to take all the vegetables and the apples and the pears and the cherries, and he'd set his money in five baskets and then put them outside the house on the street. So the poor could have them, but he couldn't climb the trees or anything. It was all windfalls. I remember I was in college and I came to visit him on my birthday and October. And a beautiful warm day, I enlisted next week, 1942. Uh, I climbed the apple trees and picked the apples. I didn't know he was giving everything away. I knew the barn just filled with baskets. He planted enough for a regular, and just he and Grandma. But he loved growing. He didn't like machines. Any kind. Absolutely refused to answer the telephone. Call it the damned instrument. Uh, mm, I can hear him yet. Me, my grandma's name was Amelia. Me, every call, right? Answer the goddamn machine. You wouldn't touch it. And Uncle Arch had a car. He had a farm 3 miles away. Grandpa wouldn't allow him in the driveway. Yes, leave the car in the street. Don't bring that infernal machine in. I have a horse. You spare the horse. He had that horse before he was married. And I remember the horse. My brother and I climbing a gate, getting on top of the gate, and then sort of sliding over onto the horse. How old it was, I'll bet it was well into his 30s, the horse. And he walked very slowly, plod, plod, plod. My brother and I yelling, gallop, gallop, you know. But the name of the horse was Peely. And I couldn't understand why my grandfather named that horse Peely. I found out about 20 years ago. Peely, you know what Peely is? Peely is a volcano in Sicily. I've been caught in the volcano. Oh, what a dirty thing. Oh, it just gave off some kind of an oily ash. If it hit your clothes, you never got uh, stains out. It was every night you got about 6 inches. We were some beautiful resorts. The swimming pools were full of this ash, hundreds of tons. They've been going on for a couple of years then. And I would go up, boom, and another foot of ash would come down year after year. And always active out there, feeling. It burned out all over the villages along the mountain. The lava used to pour down. Now, I never saw the lava pour down, but I stayed in a restaurant hotel It was from me to you where the lava ended. It was about 3 feet high, and it was an old year, 2 years old, so it was full. It was like a wave of what we had in the walls. Okay. I asked around the restaurant owner was running he just in memory it happened the year before. Uh, Thanking God he saved him in his house and restaurant. He said they were in front of it. It was rolling towards him very slowly. He was very descriptive about that lava coming down. Well, I knew what he was talking about because Dan and I were in Hawaii. The volcano exploded. And we walked up to the edge of the ledge. The lava was below us about 6 feet. It was molten earth about 25 feet below. And everything it hit would flare. Boom. Then the lava would go. It rolled into the sea, and the sea bubbled and bubbled. It was deep there, I understand. I was walking very slowly on broken slabs of old lava. All that soil was that there was it was on a peninsula that rolled out was lava that had rolled out. They had tunnels you could walk through, lava tunnels. Dan will remember better. He got right up to it like you, like the door. Not me. I stayed 6, 8 feet away. I could feel that heat. Have you ever been in a steel mill? Well, that was a policy of the Chicago Board of Education. That the students did all kinds of cultural activities, art museums, zoos, every semester, 2 or 3 field trips, and they took us to steel mills. And I can remember standing on the edge where they're pounding out rails, waves of heat, solid, and you could almost grip that. And I was in grade school, and they had machines like slot machines. Only you didn't need money; you just push the button, and out rolled free candy. Except it wasn't candy; it was salt pills for the workers. And at certain times during the day, they were supposed to go over and get a salt pill, a glass of water, and a salt pill. So I took about 3 or 4 of them. I got sicker than a dog. Boy, was I sick of that. That salt was really. I can remember, yeah, free candy. Ah, ah, nothing, sir. No, well, I like those fields, but I don't remember where the steel mill was worked. But it was a long trip, on a double-decker bus. Well, I enjoyed field trips. I was one of the few guys that didn't cheat. Maybe out of 10 bus loads, double-decker, there might have been half a dozen guys that didn't cheat. What did we do? We went to the exhibits, and they gave us sheets of immigration. You're supposed to fill them out. What color are the tiger's eyes? Things like that. Uh, how many toes on a lion's paw? And you had to go up to pretty close to the cage to look. And the lions just stood there. Most kids, some got hold of a cheat sheet and they just counted, copied it, and then turned it in as having seen. What did they do? They ran around. The boys chasing the girls. I don't think they looked at hardly anything. Now, these were ignorant kids at this stage. But we had a zoo in Chicago on Goodwood, Lincoln Park. Every kid had been there lots of times. A big park, right? The zoo, and it was a cage park, they had everything, elephants and lions and tigers. They had an aquarium nearby. All of these things gifts from the landscape. And the Lincoln Park Zoo is still there. And then there was the Brookfield. So Brookfield was a tiny town, 2 dozen houses and farms. I'd never heard of it, and I lived 5 miles. And they built the zoo. At that time, the wonder of the new world, open spaces, antelope. They probably still 1,000 acres for antelope, and they put the animals to each other with antelope. Things from Africa. Uh, there were parts you couldn't go to. Buffalo, water buffalo. I understand some of the most dangerous species. They hated everything. Or commit suicide. So they had big, strong fencing. They looked harmless. I understand that they had a number of dangerous animals. Jet lions and tigers. They had them. And they were in relative. They were open to the sky, but moats, deep moats and high fences. You had to be on the other side of the moat. Now, that's where the lions, bears, and other carnivorous. Every year, some idiot to tease those animals, and then jump in a boat to throw things at them. And the animal would jump in the boat and kill him. And if they got into the boat, some of them would get away. And then you'd have newspapers that scream, don't go to the zoo till, you know, get the National Guard or the police or somebody. If they couldn't get them back right away, they'd shoot them. But every year somebody would try to get himself killed. And they weren't just kids. Oh, man. No, I like Chicago. It was the truth of certain things. There was a university professor. He was black, but he had a picture of it. And he made a speech about race relations. I, like my dad, I read newspapers avidly, even the want-ads, every single word in the newspaper. I would read. My dad too. So we took three different papers. There were more than that. Probably, I think Chicago, I read some of them, had something like 2 dozen daily papers. There was the Abendblatt, German, the Svenska Swedish, an Italian paper, a Greek paper. All the languages of the had newspapers. And if you were in school taking that language, you were supposed to get the paper. I know the Polacks had 2 or 3 different. The Swedes had only Svenska Dag and the Krauts Abendpost, Evening Post. I got the Evening Post, and the Abendpost, it was 50 cents a week, but I had a job. And I would try and read it. It was nearly impossible because, in 4 years of German, they take a word and it get that long uh, in the word.
How long is the word?
They connected them and it became one word, or I would say should be a sentence. And reading the newspaper was very difficult. Uh, However, it intrigued me when I get up in the morning to pick up the newspaper in the house. The Tribune would be there. My dad would be long since gone, and so would the Tribune. But the Abendpost, that means evening paper. I always got it in the morning. Maybe it was a cheaper edition or something. But I would read it on the bus, and the people would look at me. Here's a kid reading a foreign newspaper. Oh boy, and I get asked, oh, can you really read that? Of course. I was struggling along, but my German teacher liked the idea. And I learned a lot of things. Reading, attempting to read. But then again, what was in the newspaper? They got it from the Associated Press and everything else and translated it into German. And if I could get a copy of the day's paper, it was almost word for word. I'll tell you a funny Jewish story. My coach was Jewish, Jack Malo. Probably not a great football coach, but the guy simply thought he knew the boys. And we do anything for Jack, best like teacher in the school. But I sent her, Herb Redmond was about 6'3" and about 200 pounds, and a very good center and a good hard hitting football. His father was about 5'5". Looked like Herb could pick him up and blow him away. His father was a terror. He'd take a belt to Herb so much he cracked a bad smile to him. Herb was afraid of his dad. And many times he speculated, if that had been our father, we'd have stuffed him in the toilet, old boys thought. But nonetheless, Jack Maylock, I don't know if he's religious or not, but he went to the synagogue this evening, and he knew every Jew. We had Herb, who was Jewish, and there was an Italian guy who was Jewish, and we had, this is on the team, one or two Polish Jews, which were very common. Uh, so Herb was not the brightest star. One of the nicest guys you ever want to meet, and a great ball player, and an academic double. Well, he had a hard time keeping the all-school average so he could play sports. So I'm getting an A in German, with a little brown nosing like the newspaper, so forth. The German teacher took the subscriptions, and you paid her as you could, 50 cents a month or something like that. I don't remember. But I got the strong feeling, which I didn't have then, that she got a commission, maybe a dime for every subscription. Unless you think that you take 4 German classes a day with 40 kids in each, you got 150, 200 kids subscribing to the newspaper and bringing in their money. And you got the paper promptly. And that was a lot cheaper than the newsstand. The newsstand got like a dime. I don't remember how much. It was cheaper. And I think that Miss Levine probably picked up $2 or $3 a week. And Miss Kinderman, the same German teacher. I also believe at this state, this is their only source of cash money. They didn't get paid teachers in Chicago for years, years. The rent and the electricity and gas were paid for. The city owned those things. Uh, and they had Chicago money. But at any rate, Coach Maylaw said, Myron, Herbert's going to flunk out of here. And he won't be able to play ball. This is catastrophe. He's a friend of mine and the other guy. And they're going to flunk him, and they would flunk him, and no more for. He says he signed up for German. You get an A, and he gets an F. I want you to see that he passes. Yes, sir. The coach wanted me to tutor Herbert. I was going to tutor Herbert. Herb thought it was a good idea. We're good friends. He graduated, by the way. But I started tutoring Herb. But I teach him one day, he would have forgotten the next. But I'll tell you, my German improved mightily teaching Herb. I remember one phrase that I learned. I taught Herb that. He went around saying it, lucky he didn't try it. Ik breche ihn in the house. I'll break your damn neck. Ik breche ihn in the house. Well, he tried that on the coach. It must have been close to Yiddish. Because Maloff was about 250. So he sort of grabbed him by the hair and shook him a little bit. Want to try? Herb decided not to try. But he practiced Ik breche ihn in the house. And the German teacher wanted to get accents. We learned all kinds of things. He was a marvelous teacher, I realize now. One of the things was, you picked out your own paragraph. It had to be so long. He's the kind of say it has to be 5 inches long, not how many words. Kid talk. Well, you had to learn that paragraph by heart. And then she would call you. She'd say, Byron, recite. Or, Myron, off the board, Ushtabiansi, going right on the blackboard. See the phrases I remember? Well, I had a long paragraph. But I had the bus to ride on. I practiced. People thought I was nuts sitting there reading the album book and mumbling to myself. I was memorizing that paragraph. And it was more than paragraph. And Herbert got a paragraph about that long. It was quite a difficult one. And I helped him with it. I remembered, I said, gee, where'd you pick this for? All long words, you know? Oh, he says, I thought that would impress her. Huh. So Herbert memorized that paragraph. And he lived next to some Krauts. And they taught him the accent, Berlin accent. he could rattle that paragraph. And Miss Louise said, you'd think he's straight out of Berlin. That's what she was. She says, and I forget what the paragraph was, so it was like a conversation. How are you today? I'm I'm just signing it. How are you? Things like that. And he had a spare paragraph. If he did momentarily forget, he could go in the next one. Be it's a beautiful day out, despite of the fact it looks like rain. I'm guessing it. So Miss Levine had a big Nazi flag on one side of her desk and an American on the other. The American flag was in the right place. German flag second. The classroom was littered with stuff from Germany. And things are fine. So one day, we're in class, and I can remember it yet. Herbert, buchstabieren Hell, get up here. He strides up to the, and she goes, she told me, sure, tell the class your paragraph. So Herbert rattles off in perfect Berlinese. A page across. Perfect. Two German teachers, their mouths hanging open. I can remember Miss Louise. Herbert, that was perfect. This is in English. I may have just sent you. Was that Agnes Kinderman? You look up. Yes, it was perfect. Herb is beaming like a $50 bill on the new. And she said, you're beginning to learn to speak German like that? And Herbert said, I finally found the secret. What's that? Why, it's Yiddish with a bad accent. Holy mackerel. It's Yiddish with a bad accent. I'm looking at Miss Kinderman with a great sense of humor. She's Miss Levine from Berlin. Hit the season. Out! 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 The door. Get out of here! Herbert crestfallen for about one moment. I got the old devil. I got the devil. She's yelling and yelling and yelling. Get out! The class is deadly quiet. The first time she's yelling, get out, you can hear it down the hall. I took off out the back door, straight for the gym. I went to Coach Madoff, and I said, I said, I've been teaching Herbert. Yes, he said, good job. He spoke German fluently. Uh, he says, good job. That's nice praise. I said, that isn't a problem, Coach. And I told him what happened. He he said to, oh shit, shit. I can remember that. We could hear her yet yelling. He says, I'll have to wait till that Nazi comes down. First time I ever heard her called a Nazi. We were not at war. But she's screeching. She's so mad. Her was hiding in the gym, of course. And they all started blowing around. And Herb never cried. He started sassing the coach. You know what the coach tells him? I'm going to tell your father what you did. I thought Herb would get down on his hands and knees and beg him not to. Don't tell my father. So I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. But Herbert, the coach punished him. I thought it was cool. He said, you like to play football, don't you? Oh, but you played your last game for me unless you follow my direction. Herbert's crystal. You gotta go back after class, go to Miss Louise. If she wants you on your hands and knees, get on your hands. Apologize. Think of more words. This is what you say. Ich bin sorry, sorry. I am sorry, sorry. Ich war being, looks like funny. I thought you would laugh. Well, I gathered later that the coach went to see the other German teacher who laughed, and the two women were friends. And so Miss Louise promised the coach he would pass. But he would do so many more paragraphs in perfect Pyrenees. I thought he'd flunk everything else. But the teachers, though, how long do you keep that quiet in school? The whole thing? I think the teachers laughed till they got sick. You know about it? And Hitler was all a Polak. Our high school was 50% Polish, 25% Swedish, and 25% other things. Uh, there was no loan for Adolf Hitler in high school. Our ROTC sergeant was predicting war. He said, the good president will not let that madman continue. No politics in school? I told my dad, the good president. Not what that. My dad says, huh, he's right. Oh my God. Everything Democrat was evil. But that was funny. But she was, uh, remember, Deutsche Amerikanische Verbundenheit. It's the German American band, a band, not orchestra, group, a band. It was a legitimate social organization, Swedish American Society, but it was a very strong Catholic organization. A priest, a renegade, he wanted to bring Adolf Hitler here to meet the Americans. A priest, Father Kaufman. The newspapers tried to cover it, and they did. Uh, these things I can all remember from high school. They come back slowly. Father Kaufman, uh, I don't know where he preached, except it was Chicago. There were plenty of Nazis in among the German population. My best friend's parents and his uncle, they all lived together. They owned an auto and tire supply business, very well to do, to skibbies. Uh, but they had a picture of Adolf Hitler in the lead room. Size of that. I went and told my father. He turned red. My mother said, "Bang, don't do it. Shut up." Uh, my dad said, "I thought Skibby had more judgment." And then, their son, who was very close to his father's belief, anti-Jewish to the hilt. I didn't even know that until then. The whole family was anti-Jewish. They were. They're such a nice family, too. Their daughter Lorraine. Uh, but they did well on business, tires. And then Bill joined the army. He was 17 when they got him joined the reserve. He told me his father had a cat fit. I said, "Well, about what? Why join in the army?" I said, "He was that much against the U.S.?" "Oh, no." But he'd been in the German army, World War I, and he didn't like armies. So, and for him to be so stupid as to join an army infuriated. He was anti-war. Bill told me his father said once, if our politicians, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't know, had any sense, they'd arm the American Jews and arm the German Jews and let them kill each other. So, they never preached it. But Bill got a full dose, and then he joined the army. That's enough. He got sent when the war got going. He was home, and I went to see him. And we're in his house. So I said, Bill, where's the picture? My dad burned it. He burned it. He says, that man has no place in our house. Well, I said, he burned Hitler's picture here. That man has no place in our house. The old man became a patriot. USA patriot.